Hey, good morning. My name is Aaron from GymCo, and I'm joining you today to take you through this special Féile workout. Today's session is all about mobility, so you don't need any equipment, just some space on the floor to get into good positions for great stretching. What I've noticed during lockdown is that moving a little bit less, certain muscles and joints have tightened up. So today, this session is based all around improving your mobility and your flexibility. It's going to take us about 20 to 30 minutes, and we'll be at a moderate to low level intensity. So let's get started. Come on down to the ground and let's get into our first stretch. So we're going to hit the hamstrings to begin. These are muscles in the back of the thighs. You can generally get quite tight from sitting and from inactivity. So let's just start seated, feet close together, knees close together, legs straight, and just slightly turn your toes towards yourself. From that position, gently ease your body forward until you feel that little pull here, where it feels like the knees want to lift up. Don't let the knees lift, okay? Keep them down and just hold that position. Now we're going to stretch here for about 2 minutes. Most of our stretches are going to be around about 2 minutes long, some are just a minute, maybe each side, around about that duration. This is really good for extending the flexibility in the muscles and opening up the joints. If you're doing cool downs at the end of workouts, generally it's a bit shorter, but for a pure mobility session, you're talking a good 15 to 30 minutes of a stretch session, and spending plenty of time on each different muscle group. Once you feel that that muscle starts to ease up, so there's a little bit less tension, then just ease yourself forward a little bit more. And that's called progressively overloading the stretch. So a muscle thinks it can go a certain length, you go to that length and then it realizes actually it can go further. So it's all about switching off the musculo-neural pathways. And again, if it starts to feel like it's easing more, you can go further. And if you're feeling really good today and flexible, try to extend towards the feet. When you do that, just allow the back to round slightly and your abdominals to pull downward, pulling the rib cage and the chest towards your thighs. You should feel just a slight discomfort, like a sharpish pain in the back of the legs. But it shouldn't be unbearable. You should be able to sit through that pain. If it does become unbearable, then just ease up a little. And that's the same for all of our stretches today. If there's anything that we do, there will be options of how to start at a low level and progress to a higher level. So you take it at your pace. This is for you, nobody else. Okay, ease back out of that stretch. And then bring the soles of your feet together. Grab the ankles or grab around the laces of your shoes if you're wearing any, or just the instep of your foot. Pull the heels towards your bum. Lift the body as upright as you can and just allow the weight of your knees to fall outwards. We just start with the weight of the knees falling out. And what we'll do is actively progress into pushing the knees out, not using our elbows as you may have seen in previous stretches that have been done over the years, but just actually using the muscles in the body to force the knees a little bit wider and open up the hips. So in this position, if you're starting to feel that it is comfortable and it feels good, then just push the feet together, squeeze the heels together, and then feel like you're trying to push your knees down and lift your body upright even further. What that's going to do is lift the hips up and forward and open up into the groin a little bit more. The adductors of the muscle of the body. These are definitely muscles that get tight from inactivity and from sitting. So if you have been working from home during lockdown or just have been furloughed and are spending a bit more time on the sofa watching Netflix, this is a really good stretch for you. Hold it for about another 30 seconds in this position before we move to the next one. And again, just feel like you're really pushing the knees out. Be careful of your posture. If you're starting to hunch down in with a little bit of fatigue setting in, just lift the chest again. And through all of these stretches, just maintain a really good breathing pattern. Don't need to rush, don't need to hold your breath. Just keep control. Ease out of that one. Next one then is for the outside of the glute. So if you take one leg out straight in front, take the foot across to the other side. Don't worry if you can get your foot down on the ground. If it's lifted slightly, that's absolutely fine. Again, it's your mobility, this is your session. And then from there, you're going to just hug around the leg and take the other hand behind, lifting the chest so the spine's upright. You don't want to be sitting back, kind of hunched into this one. You want to lift it upright, so really engage around the glutes. So feel the sharpish pain on the kind of the top of the bum, just where it meets the lower back. That's a little muscle called the piriformis. Really small muscle, but if it gets overused or you pick up a little niggle in that muscle, it's going to provide problems for the knees and for the lower back. So making sure that this is active, mobile, stretched, really important. Yep, and then change sides. We'll just hold a minute on that one, a minute on the other. You might find as you just start the legs, they slouch down slightly into it. So just with the hand on the ground behind you, just push the ground down and feel your whole spine lift, your whole chest lifted up. And you'll feel that more into the stretch, into the piriformis and the outside. So we're going to switch our focus to the front of the body now, into the hip flexors. So from here, just one knee underneath the hip, take the other foot a nice long step forward, and then from there, keeping a little bit of tension in your abdominals, keeping your bum squeezed, just ease forward until your knee on the front leg is roughly in line with the ankle. And you should just feel that really opening up through the front of your thigh. You can go hands on your legs if you wish, whatever makes you feel comfortable in this stretch position. If you can get comfortable in the stretch position. I'm going to progress this slightly, so if you're feeling that this is challenging enough for you, then you can stay here in this position, no need to move. The progression then, what we're going to do is place whatever leg you have forward, place the opposite hand on the ground, and then lift the back foot, kind of reach around and grab that foot. It is a challenging progression, so that's a big step up. If that is a little bit too much, then all you need to do is keep the foot on the ground and then turn and reach up towards the ceiling. So what we're trying to create is a little twist around the waist, so we get a little further and a different angle around the hips. And this will eventually, this will feel really great. Make sure that you don't kind of start to sink backwards. So keep this knee as far forwards as you possibly can. Try and turn your chest towards your knee to really get that twist. And relax out of it. Change legs. So again, we'll just start with the hip flexor. So foot forward, again, a little angle here on the knee, back knee underneath the hip, tuck the hips under, that little squeeze in your bum, and then start to ease your body weight forward so your knee goes over the ankle, and you really get a great stretch up through the front of your thigh and the front of your hip flexors. Your knees definitely go tight. Sitting. They can also go tight from running and cycling, so if you have been taking up those activities over lockdown, I know a lot of people started to revert to that type of training whenever the gyms closed. So if you have been running and you have been cycling more, these muscles can get very tight based on the position you're in when you're on a bike, and the fact that when you're running, They're being used a lot of repetition, so they'll shorten. So this stretch is really good. And again, you can progress into the twisted position. So level 1 up is to go hand down, arm to the ceiling, or level 2, come on me, grab the foot, hand to the floor, and turn your chest towards your knee or your thigh. Again, same thing, make sure that this knee doesn't start to slide back, otherwise you'll lose the stretch in the back leg. So that knee has to stay forward, and you feel like you're trying to get your hips down towards the ground. There's a lot of tension in this stretch, so don't worry if it feels very uncomfortable. We're not going to hold it for that much longer, okay? Yeah, ease back out of that, come out of that stretch, and that's really cool. Next up, we're going to go into a squat stretch. So what that means is we're going to come into your feet slightly wider than your hips, toes turned out, and then from there, drop into a squat, trying to keep the heels down, and then just lower the hands to the floor. You want to try and keep your spine as straight as you can, so you don't want to be rounded forwards. So if you're struggling to get into this position, just stay up a little higher. What you will find though is if you do stay higher through the squat, you're going to feel it more in your thighs. And in that case then, just stand up every now and again, give your legs a little shake, and when you feel good, come back into the deep squat again. So deep squat does open up the hips, does engage the lower back. Glutes, the hamstrings, all those big muscles that are designed to move. And when you don't move, they go tight, they get stiff, they get sore. And that's when you really need to get some mobility, some stretching to help keep you mobile and moving. So if you do need to stand up and stretch out, that's fine. Give your legs a little shake. There is a lot of pressure in this stretch position, so that's fine. If you want a little level up, what you can do is just place the elbows inside the knees and push the knees out a little bit. You start to really feel the hips open whenever you do that. Ease up out of that stretch, and then let's shift into the back of the body. So for now, come on down onto the ground, on your front, lay with your hips on the ground, feet about hip width apart. And all you're going to do from here is hands beside the chest, just extend the arms, trying to keep your hips as low to the ground as you can. You might lift a little, and that's just down to the mobility in the hips or in the lower back. That happens, it's fine, don't worry about it. Just trying to keep them as low as you can. So you don't want to be sitting up in this position. You want to create that curve in your back, chest up at the front. Try not to move the head around too much so you're not getting too much tension up through the neck and the shoulders. And there is obviously with this a lot of pressure in the back of the arms. So if this is getting too much for the arms, then just ease yourself back down again, and then come back into it whenever you feel good and feel ready to go again. From there then, just lift the knees up, or lift the hips up, take the knees a little bit wider. Squeeze your feet in, so turn the feet in so the heels are close. Arms slightly forward. We're going to go into a child's pose or a prayer position if you wish. Where you then sit the hips back. Trying to get the hips down to the heels, relaxing through your shoulders.
and allowing just the weight of your body to bring you closer to the ground. We're going to spend a little bit of time in this position, okay? So we'll progress through a couple of different options and variations. Just continue again to breathe gently, easily throughout the stretching. As allowing the weight of your body. And as the muscles relax, the weight of the body just pulls you further into the ground. Easing up through all those things. Our next progression then is if you bring the elbows down to the ground, so move your hands to get comfortable in that position, and then place the hands on the base of the neck. For this one, you'll start to feel more around the side of the body, side of the chest, and along the muscles down the side of your back. Relax your serratus and your pelvis. Slide the hips back a little further, go ahead and do that. Continue to start to feel a little bit more in the back of your arms as well, so that can take us up through the shoulders will start to ease out through there also. This whole session is that it can be done anywhere. If you are someone who works away from home a lot, travels with work, or can't get to the gym, just keep them mobile and staying active is great thing to do. Keep the body feeling great, keeps the mind right. Okay, just relax the arms forward. In this position then, you're just going to keep one arm forward and take the other arm underneath. So you start to twist through your spine and your shoulders. If you can get your shoulders and your head down to the ground, that's great. But don't worry about it if you can't. Just create that little twist. Just feel it around the outside of the shoulders a little bit and feel it through the spine. Twist and stretch through the spine. Just ease out of that and change sides. So change the arm, take the other arm underneath, twist away. Again, set the hips back. And the arm is extended forward, just keep it relaxed. The arm is twisted underneath the other side, palms face up, and again, relax the fingers. And let the weight of the body pull you down towards the floor. Get more stretch in the back. Nice release with the spine above. Tightness held in the lower back. Of tension. It's good to get stretch around that area. Come on with that gently. Kind of stand on the ground for now. Taking the knees out wide still. Take the hands forward. So bend your elbows so you can get down so the elbows are roughly 90 degrees. From that position then, what you're going to do is shift one arm straight and drop the shoulder to the floor, and then straight away dynamically move from one side to the other. So one arm goes straight, one arm stays bent, and the shoulder is just lightly touching the ground, opening up the front of the shoulder. So again, another real key area A lot of people with postural problems. It's all due to tight muscles, tight tendons in the front of the shoulder, because we spend days in front of computers, sitting at desks, sitting on the sofa in front of a TV. And our posture is great, so that then causes tightnesses, which then affect other parts of the body as well. In fact, actually headaches, there's a lot of tension through your neck. It can come from the front of the body, and it can then lead to headaches and stress. Yeah, so it's a good release, moving side to side continuously. And you should, every time that you lower the shoulder down, you should feel it easing up, relaxing. Getting more on the back. Come on up from that then. Just stay on the knees. Little tricep stretch. So take one arm down the back, grab the elbow, keep the body upright. And in this position then, a really good stretch for the back of the arms. Again, muscles that just get tight or inactive don't get used. So tighten up, and then again links in. So the tricep links into the rear deltoid and into the lats down the side here. So if there's tightnesses there, that can again affect the posture. Change sides. Relax and give that a little bit of a shake. We'll do one more stretch each side. So again, hip flexors, but getting up into the side of the body. So on one knee, 1 foot forward, lean forward into it to open up the hip flexor, and take both hands together, extend them overhead fully, so you really straighten out through the elbows, and then tip away from the leg that's at the back. Might just feel a little pinch in the back on the side that you're leaning to, a little tightness. So again, just ease out of it and then back in. So then a nice slow pace. Yeah, relax the arms, change legs. Again, get the hip flexor stretch first, so the knee forward, get that stretch to here before extending the arms up and tip into the side. Yeah, so really feel that stretch running down the side of the body. Give it a shake. Guys, thank you so much for joining me this morning for this little session. I hope you found it good. I hope your body's now feeling mobile and fresh and ready to go. And I'll hopefully see you again soon.